Presented as tribute to the war chief, she recoiled in shock. No, this cannot be. I ended humanity 2 centuries ago. The drums of victory thundered through the alien stronghold. It was the 5th cycle of triumph for the Karveth Dominion, an empire of scaled warriors whose banners stretched across 100 star systems. At the center of the victory parade sat their war chief, General Sithra, a legend, a conqueror, a killer of worlds. Her throne was carved from the bones of extinct creatures. Her armor gleamed with the blood-red sigils of conquest. To her feet were dragged the spoils of war, metals, jewels, technology stolen from fallen civilizations. But on that day, something else was brought forward. Something alive. A cage was rolled into the grand hall, guarded by a dozen Karveth soldiers. Inside sat a figure small, fragile, nothing like the towering races usually conquered. He stood unshackled, though weak, and his eyes burned with a strange fire. The war chief leaned forward, scales shimmering under torchlight. "What pitiful tribute have you brought me, Captain Tsar?" The captain slammed his fist across his chest. "A rarity, my war chief. A prize beyond measure. A survivor." The cage opened, and the prisoner stepped out. A man, pale-skinned, unscaled, clothed in rags. His kind had not been seen in living memory. Sithra's eyes widened, a flicker of something breaking through her hardened mask. She whispered, almost to herself, "Impossible. I destroyed the last of them 2 centuries ago." The beginning. The Karveth remembered humanity well. 200 years ago, they had been the rising predators of the galaxy. Fragile of body but cunning of mind, they spread like wildfire, building ships faster, weapons sharper, strategies bolder than species 10 times their age. To the Dominion, humanity was a threat. War Chief Sithra, then a young commander, had led the cleansing campaign. She burned Earth's colonies, shattered their fleets, and personally gave the order to scour Sol itself. When the fires faded, humanity was ash and memory. Or so she had believed. Now, as she stared at the man before her, she saw no ghost, no trick of cloning. His heartbeat, his scent, his very presence screamed truth. Humanity lived. The hall grew silent. The man raised his head. His voice was hoarse but steady. "My name is Kalen, and I am not the last." Murmurs rippled through the gathered warriors. Not the last? The war chief's claws curled against her throne. The middle? Sithra ordered the hall cleared. Only she, Kalen, and her most trusted advisors remained. "Explain," she demanded. "Where did you come from? What hole did your kind crawl out of?" Kalen met her gaze with something rare among the enslaved, defiance. "You failed," he said. "When you burned our worlds, some of us escaped. We went deeper than you could follow, into the dark between stars. We endured. We rebuilt. And now," he smiled faintly, "we return." The war chief's advisors hissed in alarm. If true, it meant her greatest victory had been incomplete, a stain on her legacy. If false, it was a dangerous lie. Sithra's tail lashed against the stone floor. "Why bring him here?" she demanded of Captain Tsar. The captain bowed low. "He was captured near the Outer Veil, War Chief. He fought like no other, wielding weapons our scanners could not decode. When he fell, he spat words of vengeance against you by name. I thought you should see him before I executed him." Her eyes narrowed. "You were wise not to." She rose, circling Kalen like a predator. Her scales brushed the air with a hiss. "Do you know what it means, human, to stand before me? I ended your kind. I crushed your fleets. I buried your world in flame. I should strike you down where you stand." Kalen did not flinch. "Do it then. Kill me." But know this, even if you strike me down, others will come. My people are rising again. And this time, War Chief, it is not humanity that will burn. Seeds of doubt. That night, Sithra could not sleep. For 2 centuries, she had built her reputation on the eradication of humanity. To discover that survivors still walked the stars gnawed at her pride. But deeper than pride was fear. Humanity had been dangerous even when young and scattered. What would they be now? Hardened by exile, sharpened by survival. Her dreams filled with images of fire, of fleets returning from the void, of human eyes glaring at her through smoke. When dawn came, she summoned Kalen again. "Tell me of your people," she ordered. And he did. Not with details of locations or numbers, that he guarded carefully, but with stories. Of hidden arcs sailing in the shadows. Of children taught the names of the fallen. Of weapons forged in silence, waiting for their day. As he spoke, the war chief saw not a broken slave, but the ghost of an enemy she had thought gone forever. And though her instincts screamed to end him, something else, something dangerous, told her to listen. The escape. Weeks passed. Kalen was kept prisoner, but never silenced. Guards whispered of his words, of his calm defiance. Some began to wonder if perhaps the war chief had not been as victorious as she claimed. Seeds of doubt spread. Then one night, the impossible happened. Explosions tore through the Karveth stronghold. Sirens howled, and from the shadows emerged ships, small, sleek, nothing like Dominion craft. Human ships. They had come for him. Kalen's cell door opened, and a woman in dark armor appeared. Her face was scarred, her eyes burning. "Brother," she said, "we've come." Sithra stormed into the chaos, blade in hand, cutting through attackers like a storm. But when she reached the docking bay, she froze. Kalen stood there, flanked by his rescuers. He looked back at her one last time. "You should have finished the job," he said. "Now it's too late." And with that, he vanished into the stars. The ending. The raid was small, surgical. By the time the Dominion rallied, the human ships were gone, slipping into hidden folds of space. They had left nothing behind but wreckage and a message carved into the stone walls of the war chief's hall. "We endure." The Karveth Dominion reeled. Whispers spread across the empire. The humans live. Some feared their return. Others, species long crushed under Karveth rule, saw hope. For War Chief Sithra, it was worse than defeat. It was uncertainty. For the first time in her reign, she had no answer, no control. Humanity had slipped from her grasp, and with them went the certainty of her greatest victory. She stood on the balcony of her fortress, staring into the endless night. Somewhere out there, in the cold dark, humanity was waiting, growing, planning. And when they returned, it would not be as tribute, nor as prey. They would return as vengeance. And even the war chief of the Karveth Dominion would tremble.